Welcome to the Wrestle Factor Podcast. My name is Josh. With me is my brother Jay.
What's up?
And today we are talking about, the main point I want to talk about, or at least to start with, and I think you know what I'm going to say.
I think everybody knows what you're going to say.
What happened to the War Raiders? Why is this a thing now? Yeah. It sounds to me like more of an amusement park ride now. Calling them the Viking experience.
I think calling anything just the blank experience makes it sound like an amusement park ride.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of wanted to rant about this, as soon as it happened, but A, we have to get through SmackDown first before we can talk about it, and B, I've had a couple of days to kind of sit on it and, let my mind think about it, I guess. Not that we can change it at all, but...
Yeah. Once again, it's something I've heard a couple of times already. It's it's just a name.
It is just a name.
You'll get used to it. If the talent truly is good, it'll rise above it.
Yeah. I don't understand this whole main roster is a different continuity thing. I mean, it's well documented that Vince loves to change things the day of the show or whatever, but so supposedly the idea is that Vince doesn't want the word war associated whatsoever on the main roster.
I think that's mostly speculation.
Mostly, wasn't really confirmed, but I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. On SmackDown, they called Ember Moon the War Goddess. It's a nickname, whatever. You don't have to call her that. It's not a big deal. It's not her whole identity. But I'll raise a second point to you. Sorry, I'm playing with the rubber band. The second point, NXT has a yearly show called War Games. War Games.
Well, I think by adding the games aspect to it, it kind of neutralizes it.
I guess. I feel like that's overthinking things, to be honest. But...
It's a little dumb. To be honest, I feel like a lot of people complain about when acts come to the main roster, but at the same time, it's NXT has only been around for a couple of years. Back before then, nobody in the public really got to see the developmental process.
Right.
And now that it's, kind of been shoved to the forefront because WWE has the money to make a much smaller product more focused on the action.
Mm-hmm.
And people realize it's it's basically like an indie promotion that has just all the money loaded into it.
Right.
But, you think about it back in the day, it's do you have any idea when somebody would show up? Back when vignettes were a thing.
Right.
It's we have to hype this person.
Even as recently as the Wyatt family back in, 2013, 2012?
2012 or 2013.
They had all these video packages for them about to appear on the main roster, even though they were on NXT.
NXT had barely become a thing.
I honestly didn't know it was a thing at all.
Exactly.
Because I got back into wrestling after NXT stopped its whole game show type of presentation and actually became the developmental wrestling product.
I think I came back into wrestling right when that was starting.
I think so, yeah.
It was the first season and Daniel Bryan just quit the show or whatever.
Something like that, yeah.
But,
I didn't know Daniel Bryan until he was already on the main roster.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that Nexus angle was pretty good at the time.
Yeah.
Up until SummerSlam.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to talk about that.
Yeah. It's too late to talk about that.
So, we just wanted to go over who we feel were the top wrestlers of the week. Also, statistically, according to our fantasy points, who was the best this week. Who do you have in mind? Who's your, number 5? Or who are your top 5?
My number 5, probably tying around at about 8 points, probably tying between Asuka and AJ Styles. They both had a pretty good week. AJ moving to Raw, being in the main event, definitely helped gain them some points.
Okay.
Not too worried about it. Asuka, glad to see that they're at least that she's on SmackDown. I'm happy about. They're actually trying to do something with her. I'm not so sure about the whole splitting up the Sky Pirates thing. I think if you were gonna bring Kyrie along, why not bring Io? But at the same time, you can't just always keep raiding NXT's women's division.
True.
Right as they're, done building it up again.
Right, and we'll get on to more of that later once we kind of go over the main points of the shows this week. But I do have more I want to add on to that later.
Definitely. So. Who would you say is your number 5 for the week?
My number 5 for the week, if we want to just go by the points alone, my number 5 was Finn Balor. Didn't have a great showing on Raw because who was his match against on Raw?
He went up against
Andrade, who just made the move to Raw now, and he lost. Okay. Not a huge deal. Sometimes the champions lose, but
I mean, as we saw, going on SmackDown the next night, so it wasn't too bad.
Right. He had a kind of a redemption match against Ali, which was a good match. Finn, and ended up with 9 points this week, so he's kind of my number 5 on the roster. I'll go ahead. My number 4 was Seth Rollins. Honestly, he's number 1 in my heart. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But no, he ended up with 12 points this week. Just had the one match, and one backstage promo, right? And that was it.
Yep.
But yeah.
Where they, Raw apparently was a very spoilery show this week.
Very spoilery.
Between the Usos reveal and
we'll get on to that too.
Apparently AJ coming out of the locker room a little too early, or something to that effect.
Yeah. Okay, your number 3.
My number 3. I think I'm just gonna have another tie again between Xavier and Kevin Owens. They both had a very equal week. Very entertaining. I
loved every bit that Kevin Owens was on the show this week.
Kevin Owens on the face side of things, I think is very interesting.
He's one of the few people that honestly, like with him returning the last month or so, this is the first I've really seen of his babyface work. It's always been heel stuff.
Exactly.
And I have to say, he's one of like the few people that I enjoy every second of him being both a face and a heel. So he did a really good job this week.
Because I've tried to go back from time to time to kind of check out some of his indie stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen too much, but I have seen some of his more funny side of promos and whatnot. And he's very entertaining.
Yeah.
And this is not something completely outside the realm.
Yeah.
Although with him as a face and Sami Zayn as a heel, the world just seems flip-flopped right now.
Yeah. It was a little odd. My number 3 this week was Roman Reigns, earning himself 14 points because he was on both Raw and SmackDown. He was part of the winning side on that 6-man tag.
Real lucky duck.
And then came out and beat up Elias and Mr. McMahon a little bit. So that was really cool.
Yeah, you cheer a guy that beats up a 70-year-old man.
A 70-year-old man that doesn't listen to his audience, so whatever.
You beat up a 70-year-old man. Where are you, Triple H, to beat up Roman Reigns?
Yeah. He already tried that a few years ago and he lost, remember?
Okay. Gotta teach these young kids a lesson.
My number 2, you may find this to be a surprise, was Bayley. She earned 15 points this week because she was on the winning team of both Raw and SmackDown matches.
And apparently is once again a singles competitor.
Yeah, she mentioned she's back to being a singles star. No real word on what's happening with Sasha yet.
Not gonna lie, skip through her promo.
It wasn't that great, just an average promo. Just confronting Becky a little bit.
To be honest, kind of going back to the developmental topic earlier, I feel like she was great down there, great with small crowds, and I don't know, WWE has just soured her so much that just that goody two-shoes kind of thing just doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah. It's also one of those things where like the NXT crowd and the main roster crowd are two separate groups of people. Some of them like, everything, but I don't know, me personally, I'm a 25-year-old man. I don't really care much for the bright colors and the poppy attitude and hugging everybody, and that's obviously not my personal thing. So I can understand if a lot of other, guys my age are just like not really big on that kind of a gimmick or whatever.
Yeah.
So
that and the Bayley buddies usually don't feel like
by the way,
half the time.
Now that Bayley and Byron Saxton are back on the same show, we can expect to probably hear more of that. And I'm not looking forward to it.
Yay.
Although I will say I love when Corey berates Byron for his annoying attitude.
Yes. That's fantastic.
All right, your number 1 this week?
My number 1, probably no surprise, the WWE champion, Kofi Kingston. Earning himself 13 points. Carrying that, carrying Rosie. Was that her name? That Daniel Bryan?
I don't remember.
Well,
The title?
Yes.
I don't remember. I must have missed that segment.
Whenever he threw the title away, it's like, oh, this is made of animals. I don't like it, so I'm putting it in the trash.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I vaguely remember the segment. I don't remember what he called the belt.
Yeah, dumb, Mark humor, I guess. But yeah, just carrying that nice looking championship, all over the show that night.
Yeah, I like it a lot better than the.
Sacrificing his crop top to to Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
I love that segment.
I don't know. I liked the natural or the planet's championship, I guess you would say. I liked it because it worked for a character.
Yes, it was obviously designed and worked well for Daniel and nobody else.
Exactly.
And that's what made it.
I wish WWE didn't make it obvious that it was going to be sort of retired at WrestleMania.
Yeah. They had it on a pedestal before the match even started.
I understand, photos might look a little weird, Kofi's holding up that, but
yeah,
at the very least.
Yeah. Okay. So my number one this week, unsurprisingly, was Becky 2 belts, earning herself 17 points. She only had one match though, which that kind of just goes to show how much being a champion can help you out, especially if you're double champion.
I mean, yeah.
All those extra points you get. But Becky earned 17 points this week. Not much to say. She's really great. So.
Pretty much. I mean, Who can beat somebody who's just lifting all that gold all the time?
Right. Carrying almost literally the company on her shoulders. So.
It's ridiculous.
Okay. So Raw started this week with Stephanie and Shane. They opened up with a promo, kind of discussing the beginning of the Superstar Shakeup. Going to see a lot of people jumping brands, a lot of surprises. And then as they're talking, Miz comes out and starts attacking Shane McMahon. In the process, busting open his own head with a chair.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the actual segment, but I saw a replay of it, and I don't know how he did that.
That's apparently what people said, is that when he was thrown over the barricade and then grabbed the chair and went to hit Shane with it, it also bounced back at himself in the head. But it's not obvious. But I also don't see anywhere else except for, Shane's kind of stiff punches to the head where it could have happened.
That part where I think he got thrown into the ring post, maybe he might have bumped it. I don't know. It took a second.
It took a minute,
for it to come up, and it wasn't too crazy.
Yeah, well, it's not really obvious, but.
But still, it's you see blood in WWE nowadays. It's pretty interesting.
So Miz kept attacking Shane. Shane ran off, and that was the end of that segment. Next, and this is probably the biggest talking point of every fan this week, and something we've already talked about. The debut of the Viking Experience. I try not to be pessimistic with changes that they make. I try and, look at the bigger picture. What is kind of their goal with this whenever they make a change? This was the most pointless thing I think they've ever done. I hate this name.
I thought it was a bit ridiculous whenever it did pop up. As a tag team name, I didn't care that they changed it. Stuff like that happens. I don't like the fact that they changed their individual names.
I thought that was stupid too. I understand.
Because I was already kind of confused with them with their names because I only pretty much saw them on takeover shows.
Right.
But now their names are completely different. They don't even really sound good.
I understand that.
You got Eric and Ivar. It's
which they couldn't figure out how to pronounce for a while.
Also,
apparently, it was Ebor, Ibar, Ivar.
Everyone's has a different. It's like Champa. It's Champa.
It is for sure though. Ivar, Ivar, and Eric, Erik. And I think it's the only reason they went with Eric is because they could change it to a K and make it sound more like a Viking name.
It's all dumb.
I totally. You know what? I could look past it if they want to do a name change and make it more of this Viking theme that they've obviously had going since they came to NXT.
Yeah.
Fine. This is the most uninspired name they could have come up with. Like I said, it sounds like an amusement park attraction, not even a ride there. This is where you go in the amusement park to learn about Vikings.
It's that giant Viking, ship swing at the state fair.
Yeah.
Step aboard the Viking Experience.
And I know in a couple of weeks, no one's going to be talking about it anymore. It's one of, we live in the age of the internet where things are forgotten about after a week and no one cares anymore. So This isn't going to change. You're going to stay the Viking experience, whatever.
Open a thesaurus or something and find like a different word for experience. Just like just something. Like we understand they're Vikings.
It's that, and also like my other big problem was like, it's a totally different continuity to NXT, like I said. When just, a week and a half ago, they had a really great match against Black and Ricochet as the War Raiders, the NXT Tag Team Champions. And then 10 days later, they're the Viking experience out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They didn't provide any reason for the name change when people obviously know that's not what they're called.
Exactly.
I just didn't get that part, but still a great match. They put on a really good showing.
They didn't really do a lot of the like big stuff, like watching them at Takeover, seeing Hansen doing all like the like high flying stuff,
the
Ricochet,
acrobatics and stuff.
Yeah, they didn't really do too much.
I forget what their finisher is called, but it's one where like Rowe holds him on his shoulders, and then Hansen does the leg drop off the turnbuckle. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they did that. But yeah, he didn't do like his cartwheels or anything that I.
Cartwheels or like the hands, like the springboard handstand.
Yeah, nothing like that I can remember. But I still enjoyed the match pretty well. I did have trouble thinking about something other than the name during the whole match, but really good. Ivar, if you want to call him that, that's Hansen, got the pin over Ryder. They pinned the tag team champs. Also, the Viking Experience are now heels? Question mark?
I'm not
Don't
sure.
know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Andrade appeared next. He's now on Raw. Had a match against Finn Balor. Got the pin over Balor. Not much else to be said about that. It was not a bad match. It was okay.
Andrade, just getting some points this week.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. Really helping out my roster.
Gonna maybe skip over a few segments here and there. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable came out, cut a pre-match promo, and everyone saw this. The production team flashed up the name graphic of the Usos for just a split second during that promo. And I was
but before the promo even started,
yeah.
Almost like they were saying that they were the Usos.
Yeah. I was like, what?
It's like, what?
So it ruined all the mystery about who was about to come out and have a match with these two. Something that went through my head for a second though was like, maybe it's gonna be actually somebody else though, just to trick us.
I thought that would be funny. Like they're used to rewriting the show like 2 hours or so before.
Literally 2 seconds before now.
They're like, oh crap.
Who's it gonna be?
Ascension.
I was gonna say Sanity, but
Sanity,
yeah, that's a joke. Jimmy Uso got the pin over Chad Gable.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, I'm really hoping
Chad Gable has been moved to SmackDown now.
Yeah.
So, which we'll go over who made the jump where, like a full list when we get to the end of what happened this week.
Hoping the Usos can help the Raw tag team division because it has been very lacking.
Yeah, I'm really excited for them to be on Raw because hasn't it been since they were babyface that they were on Raw? They were doing the face paint and everything. I don't think they made the actual gimmick change until SmackDown.
No, I think they've been on SmackDown since the brand split.
I think so.
And yeah, they kind of changed into that.
Yeah.
It's honestly been like their best run in the company.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I did love them as,
They were good with the face paint and, being baby faces and all, but once...
It was more about their, high-flying skill in the ring. It wasn't so much about who they were as people or anything.
Yeah.
And now...
They were flashy.
Who they are now are, I don't know, they're just, really tough and, they go toe-to-toe with New Day, and it's a great match every single time. So... later on, we got Iconics versus Bayley and a new Raw Superstar, Naomi.
Yay.
And they got the win over the Iconics. Don't know why the Iconics are losing so much now that they're the champions, but all right.
I mean, yeah, you got brand new belts. You want to establish them as being, worthy.
Right.
So you have everybody lose.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Naomi got the pin over Billie Kay, so Bayley and Naomi won. Later on...
At least it's exposure, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. Later on, Becky Lynch had a match against Ruby Riott, and Lynch tapped her out. Good show, actual good showing for a champion, especially if she's a double champion.
Definitely.
Had a couple more segments, and then...
The more surprising thing about that whole area of Raw was that Lacey Evans actually did something.
Right.
Finally uttering, some words and actually getting into a match.
Right.
But wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah. The Becky Lynch win led into this other promo where Lacey Evans came out, Natalya came out, they all talked, and Natalya and Evans were essentially challenging Becky for the Raw Women's title, which led to a match between Evans and Natalya to decide the number one contender. Evans got the pin, so title shot sometime soon, probably Money in the Bank. They didn't really announce when that was going to be, but what do you think? Do you think Evans is going to be... They are finally pushing her now that Becky is the double champ. Do you think Evans is going to be the one to take the title off her, the Raw title at least?
Not without shenanigans.
I think you're
right. I don't think she's going to win straight up.
They're probably going to play in some sort of Becky has to have 2 matches on every pay-per-view. She's going to get tired, and then that's how someone will take the first belt off of her.
Either that, yeah. She'll defend the SmackDown title earlier in the night, then she'll defend the Raw title.
I think she needs to go longer with the Raw title, because she's been SmackDown champ twice.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
either way.
Maybe they will run with it for a while.
Maybe, honestly, I would like to see Becky hold on to the Raw title for a while, and maybe Bayley become the SmackDown Women's Champion, because she's the only one of the 4 horsewomen that hasn't had that title yet. So maybe they could do that. Or Ember Moon.
I was about to say,
I love Ember
Lynch
Moon,
versus Ember Moon, I think would be a pretty good
match.
Pretty good lineup. Especially right now, since she's on SmackDown, just refreshes her a bit.
Yeah.
The fact that she was actually on the show was great.
Next was a backstage interview with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. They were talking about who their mystery partner could maybe be, which was, I don't know if this was planned, was almost spoiled because during the interview, the door behind them opened, looked like someone was about to come out. I think it was planned. I don't know. It just seems like an odd thing for them to mess up.
The way it was executed made it look like it was almost not
odd.
Supposed to happen.
Yeah. But that led into a match between Reigns, Rollins, and new Raw star AJ Styles against McIntyre, Corbin, and Bobby Lashley. Styles got the pin on Bobby Lashley after a phenomenal forearm, and that's how we closed out the show. So that was pretty much Raw this week. Moving on to SmackDown. Started off with Kevin Owens' show, which I love Kevin Owens, and I love the Kevin Owens show when he's a babyface.
Perhaps I would say the best segment of the week.
Oh, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
Brought out Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. I wrote that this segment was hilarious. I love...
Which, by the way, it still gets me that English is Kevin Owens' second language. Because, he speaks so fluently. He speaks it perfectly. Yeah, he speaks so fluently either way, no real accent at all.
Yeah.
But, and then you come out on an episode in Montreal, and he's just...
He greets the crowd in French, yeah.
Exactly.
And they loved it.
Exactly. It's great.
They also addressed how Big E is out with an injury right now. Woods kind of had a little bit of a mini breakdown. It's kind of funny. Freaking out about his YouTube channel. During the segment, Nakamura, Rusev, and Cesaro watching from backstage. Cesaro comes in and offers to tag with him in a match tonight and make it a 3-on-3, which they accept. Finn Balor had another match against Ali. He actually won this match. All there needs to be said about that.
It was a pretty good match. I didn't really listen to much of the commentary.
I never do.
Yeah, I was just more focusing on the action, but it was really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think anything with either of those two is a good match usually.
You pretty much got 2 cruiserweights that aren't being held down by the cruiserweight gimmick.
Yeah.
Which was great.
So we had another segment. I think this is where this fit in. I forgot to write this down at first. Another segment with Kofi, Xavier, and Kevin, where Kevin had to go through his initiation and eat an entire tray full of pancakes in under 5.5 minutes. And
was it 5 minutes or 5 seconds?
5 minutes.
Okay, I thought they were making a 5-second joke because of Big E. Apparently that was a gimmick back in the day, back in NXT. But the way they did that segment reminded me of the old segment between Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, where Angle dared Kurt or something that he couldn't do 300 push-ups. And so you just see him start and they come back to it and he's getting the last few and then his arms are so dead that he just falls on the ground.
And yeah, they shot this pretty much exactly how I thought they were going to, where they cut to a different segment, come back, and he's, quote-unquote, finishing the pancakes right in the time limit. And he's officially an honorary member of the New Day. After that, we got a match with Carmella and Charlotte Flair. Surprisingly, Flair tapped out Carmella because Carmella's the Battle Royal winner, so why would we push her?
And Charlotte's just
no offense, we don't want to see it anyway. Lars Sullivan came out and beat down R-Truth after that, and kind of like creepily stared down Carmella.
I wonder if that was just to get a little more heat, or if they're actually gonna kind of push that towards the storyline.
I got very weird Snitsky vibes from this.
Yeah, it was flashback to like 05 Raw.
Snitsky
right
and
there.
Lita. And...
Where's Kane when you need him?
Do you remember when he kicked the baby? It's not my fault. Anyway.
Lars Sullivan, this generation Snitsky. That's all you need.
Basically,
right
yeah.
I don't know if that's all you need or all you want.
Next was a very long promo, which was hard to keep track of for the purpose of my notes. Becky Lynch came out and cut a promo, and then Ember Moon, and then Bayley, and then the Iconics, and then Paige, and then Rose and Deville. And then Paige, it cuts back to Paige, and she's introducing her new tag team, which she said, brand new tag team, something that like we've never seen them before or whatever.
I mean,
if you want to bend the truth a little bit, because she introduced, sorry, that was my phone. She introduced Asuka, and I was like, okay, she's been on SmackDown. What are you talking about?
It's like then I was expecting somebody else that was already on the roster to come out,
someone that just moved from Raw or something, but,
and be kind of disappointed. But then no,
and then she brought out Kairi Sane because she's also Japanese.
Pretty much.
I honestly like. I don't want to play like a race card or anything, but I feel like that's the only reason they're together.
I mean, perhaps that's the way it starts out.
I don't know what their like history in Japan has been, but
I don't know.
I honestly like. If Asuka isn't like the victim of some more bad booking, I think this tag team could be really entertaining because I like Kairi a lot.
I think if they build them over the summer correctly, maybe they could be the tag team champs by SummerSlam.
I feel they're already trying to push them a little bit. They're the tag team's got the most focus other than the Iconics this week, because Paige last week was like, get ready for my tag team that I'm debuting next week.
I want them and the Iconics to be built up over this summer. So
and can we please just have like
the Iconics as the cunning, crafty heels? I said cunning, by the way.
I heard.
And Asuka and Kairi as this really gelled together tag team.
Right.
Kind of like how the Sky Pirates were, which I sort of understand why they chose to go with this and not just completely bring them up.
Right.
Once again, destroying NXT's women division, which
also,
always happens.
It's been kind of rumored Kairi's supposed to come up for a while, ever since she lost the NXT women's title for the second time. And a lot of people are suspecting that Io is going to be going for another title shot in a singles match soon. So honestly, I would love to. Honestly, I'm a little torn actually, because I would love to see Io win the title from Shayna, but I also want to see Candice LeRae do it, and they wouldn't do that for both of them.
No.
So yeah, I understand keeping Io in NXT. They probably just maybe wanted to have the same kind of chemistry on the main roster with Asuka, because she's Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, this led to an 8-woman tag match. Sane hit the insane elbow on Peyton Royce for the pin. Another Iconics loss this week.
Boo.
Yeah, I like the Iconics a lot, but it's hard to think that they're worthy of being title holders if they lose 2 matches in a week.
Pretty much. Talking only gets you so far.
Yeah.
Whenever you can't win matches, like even the ones that maybe don't count as much.
Yeah.
It still, puts the odds completely against you.
Yeah. There was a quick Hardy Boys promo backstage, and then the 6-man tag that was promoted earlier in the night. Kingston, Woods, and Owens versus Nakamura, Rusev, and Cesaro. After everyone came out, they cut to another pre-taped promo with Buddy Murphy, announcing that he is now going to be part of SmackDown Live.
No longer a secret, apparently.
Excited. Woo!
Apparently now the worst kept secret. Because, the secret's out now.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I don't know what you're talking about, but all right.
Whatever. I don't feel like explaining it.
Kevin Owens got the pin on Rusev. New Day wins.
Yeah.
Kind of all expected it, but still a good match.
Once again, Kevin Owens using the stunner. And I think
I like his
it.
version of the stunner.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't like the way Rusev takes it.
Rusev was like a classic overseller though.
That was like an homage to Vince, I guess, since he was there.
Final segment, which I totally forgot about until the New Day match was over and there was still like 6 minutes left. Vince McMahon was supposed to come out and announce his biggest acquisition for SmackDown in any Superstar Shakeup ever.
Honestly, this could have gone on before the 6-man tag. I think the 6-man tag.
It could have. It didn't. Okay, we'll get onto that in a second. So he comes out and he's obviously doing his short little promo about best acquisition yet. Mm-hmm. My first thought, and I think a lot of people thought this too, it was going to be Baron Corbin. I didn't want it to be.
I didn't even think that.
I thought it might be. Ended up being Elias. Fair enough. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I don't really understand.
Whenever they announced that it was Elias, I was like, okay, who else?
Right.
Like, honestly, I like Elias. I enjoy his work.
I do too.
At the same time, there's no way that they were going to build him up like that.
But he also, not only is he not in a whole lot of matches, but he doesn't seem to win very many where it's not like an undercard opponent. And they just got off this whole segment where Vince does not want to feature people that he thinks are not top level stars. Kofi Kingston, obviously.
Yeah.
And Elias, the extent of his promos is he plays part of a song insulting the crowd and then he gets interrupted and or beat up. Why is Elias the highest acquisition you could ever have?
Reactions.
I guess for heat, maybe.
I mean, just general reaction, not so much, but just that classic cheap heel heat, I guess.
Yeah.
Just insult, insert your town's name here.
Yeah. Roman Reigns interrupted, which made me think, why was Roman Reigns not considered the top acquisition? Because he just beat cancer and everything. He's been, pushed as the top star for years. Should
have had Elias, do the interrupting for once. That would have been way better.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't hate the segment. It just, now that I think more about it, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense.
It wasn't a good way to go home, honestly.
No, it could have been an earlier promo. But that was SmackDown for the week. Good show. I think, as usual, it beat out Raw this week. Raw was alright, but I still can't get over the Viking Experience thing, and that knocked it down a notch or two.
Plus, it's always, whenever they do these Superstar Shakeups, you kind of have to just wait with your opinion of Raw.
Right. Until SmackDown's over.
It's like a whole bunch of stuff's going to happen, but usually a lot of the people that still appear on that Raw will end up on SmackDown.
Right. And we're also going to have to wait for next week, too, because some people that we were curious to see where they're going to end up weren't on either show and weren't announced for either show.
Some weren't even on that special graphic of people.
Like supposedly Samoa Joe was supposed to be on Raw. He's out with the flu this week, but they didn't even mention that he was going to be once Finn Balor showed up on SmackDown. Which one or two things has to happen: either Samoa Joe goes to Raw, or a Raw star wins the IC belt, or a SmackDown star wins the. Never mind. It wouldn't matter because the IC belt's already on SmackDown.
Yes.
So yeah, either Joe goes to Raw or a Raw star wins the IC belt.
Yeah. Unless the IC title stays with Finn Balor on SmackDown and this whole program between Joe and Strowman continues and say Strowman wins the title, then it'll stay on Raw.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see.
So
I'm sure they'll have to address it one way or another if he does show up on Raw.
Yeah. So just looking at WWE.com real quick, this is the official list of superstars that changed brands. The new stars on Raw are AJ Styles, Miz, Ricochet, Aleister Black, Eric and Ivar, Andrade and Zelina Vega, Rey Mysterio, The Usos, Naomi, EC3, Lacey Evans, Eric Young, and Cedric Alexander. Officially breaking up Sanity, I guess. I don't know if they're going to do anything at all with Wolf and Dane, Nikki Cross for that matter.
Could you really say that they were together?
They were together, but Does anyone even remember them at this point?
I don't know.
We do, but
Add Killian Dane to the Viking experience.
that'd honestly be pretty cool to see.
No way he's on SmackDown. Never mind.
Well,
heavy machinery it is.
They could sneak him over to Raw. Who cares? But no, Killian Dane was actually like the fourth person in Sanity.
Yeah.
Because it was just Young and Wolf and Cross, and then
Actually,
I
he
wasn't
replaced
watching.
somebody.
I can't remember who that was because I wasn't watching NXT regularly at that point.
I believe it was Sawyer Fulton. What's his name? He had some sort of injury and got replaced
Oh, okay.
by Killian Dane.
I just remember that Killian Dane like joined Sanity. I vaguely remember that. So the stars now on SmackDown are Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, Elias, Bayley, Ember Moon, Kairi Sane, Lars Sullivan, Buddy Murphy, Liv Morgan, Chad Gable, Apollo Crews, Mickie James, and Heavy Machinery. This also means that the Riot Squad and Chad and Gable are now not a team.
Chad and Gable.
Chad and Gable? What is that? What I said? Rude and Gable.
Yes.
My bad. Yeah, I don't.
Let's hope for a Rude heel turn.
That'd be cool.
I think that would be something that could definitely help. He works way better as a heel.
And I'm curious to see what happens with Gable because he's been more in the spotlight as a tag team, but now with him being on SmackDown, who knows if they'll give him a singles push or not. Don't know. We'll just have to wait and see.
I don't know.
But
I mean, Apollo Crews is on SmackDown now, isn't he?
Apollo Crews, yep.
I mean, yeah, just throw him with another black guy again.
We'll throw them together, yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean,
well, weren't Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin on a team for a little while?
Yeah, you had American Alpha with Jason Jordan. You had American Beta with Shelton Benjamin. I don't know what this would be.
what you'd call
American Bronze.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's all the trades this week. Just real quick, want to go over all the standings. Let's see. Tied in last with 0 points each. Carmella, Kurt Hawkins, Ali, Aleister Black, Ricochet, Ruby Riott, and Zack Ryder. They either were not on the show or were on the show and lost their match, and that's all they had.
We're really going through everybody?
I'm just going to break it up by how many points each person had. Just list them all off. 1 point apiece. Cesaro, Jeff Hardy, Bobby Roode, Buddy Murphy, Alexa Bliss, Chad Gable, EC3, Lana, Liv Morgan, Mandy Rose, Matt Hardy, Natalia, Paige, R-Truth, Rey Mysterio, Rusev, Sami Zayn, Sarah Logan, Shane and Stephanie McMahon, Shinsuke Nakamura, Sonya Deville, Miz, and Zelina Vega. That's where the bulk of the points were. 2 points apiece. Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, Billy Kay, Baron Corbin, and Peyton Royce. Elias and Leo Rush had 3 each. Lars Sullivan was the only person with 4 this week. 7 points apiece for Jey Uso, Charlotte Flair, Dash Wilder, Eric, Ivar, Jimmy Uso, Naomi, and Scott Dawson. Kairi Sane, Andrade, Asuka, AJ Styles, Ember Moon, and Lacey Evans all had 8 points each. 3-way tie with 9 points each. Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, and Xavier Woods. I feel like that kind of says a bit about Finn Balor since he's a champion and only got 9.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter. Peyton Royce and Billy Kay only got 2.
Yeah, at least he won this week.
He did get a win this week, yeah.
For appearing on both shows.
5th place overall was Seth Rollins with 12. 4th place was Kofi with 13. 3rd place was Roman Reigns with 14. 2nd place went to Bayley with 15. Pretty good since she's not even champion. And 1st place, unsurprisingly, Becky Lynch with 17 points.
Becky 2 belts.
Becky 2 belts. So
they're not belts, they're championships.
They're championships. Okay. Anything else you would like to talk about before we get out of here?
I mean, I think we've talked about it plenty today.
Yeah, I think so.
Just come back to this next week. See how things have unfolded with new rosters.
I'm really curious to see like how points like change from week to week.
Definitely.
I can see Becky being on top at least until Money in the Bank, for sure, because it's just easy for her to get points. So
I'm hoping that a little more of my roster will appear.
Oh, that's another thing I didn't go over. Each of our points for our respective rosters.
Oh yeah, our total points for week 1.
So Between the two of our rosters, Jay ended up with a total of 83 points, and I ended up with a total of 119 points. Honestly, a bigger difference than I was expecting, but like I said, things can change from week to week, especially, with their 50-50 booking they love to do sometimes.
I'm just hoping that it's not a 36-point difference every week. Like I said, hopefully more of my roster will appear. Right. Hopefully Bray Wyatt will make his return, I should say.
Yeah. Well, just on your roster alone, I'm just looking at people that either weren't here or lost their only matches. Ali lost, Bray Wyatt wasn't on, Carmelo lost, Daniel Bryan wasn't on, Fandango hasn't returned yet. Ricochet, Ruby Riott lost their matches. Samoa Joe wasn't on. Sheamus wasn't on. You also have the Iconics, and they lost both their matches.
Yes.
If they had won both their matches, I would bet that you'd be way ahead of me.
Perhaps.
So.
Perhaps. But, oh well, that's
the standings for this first week. So that's all we got time for. Come back next week for more updates and more wrestling. So we'll see you next time.
Peace.